Okay, let's see what we have here. Latest postcard. I call them idea card. Orders, I didn't get a large quantity of each card, but this print wasn't having a sale, so I only buy these postcards when they're on a much better sale than they were. Otherwise, they cost too much per card. But anyways, I've done these openings many times before, but what these are hard copy idea cards. All of these samples are online or in video form. But, you know, there is something nice to having something in hand where all, you know, rubber stampers and paper crafters, and it's just nice holding something once in a while. And these cards are pretty true to the original colors of the original stamp scenes, so I've always been pretty pleased. But let's see if I formatted a couple new ones here. I've shown some of these other ones in the past. I really like this one right here with those colors. That's the type of color scheme that when I try to, you know, kind of replicate it, I always come up with something different. Which is good, you know, in terms of always getting, you know, some kind of variation with everything that can take place. But once in a while, it's kind of nice to, you know, be able to get some kind of color scheme. I really like that little blue up there with that little tinge of green where that blue overlaps some of that yellow that got into that area. But I really like that type of kind of look. Here's something with the stone wall. I really like that kind of I don't know, that mass within this field here. It kind of gives the entire scene some body and is what I call a visual lead-in into the piece. So everything on this one's kind of going that way in a kind of a triangular compositional shape. Let's see here. I didn't remember that I got so many of these. Okay, this one's a new one. I wanted to see if I got the color scheme right. One of the other ones I didn't convert from RGB to this thing called CMYK color formatting, and the colors kind of came out weird, so this one came out right. Now this is a much larger piece. I just shrunk it down into the standard postcard size instead of an oversized one, but this is one that is on video number 300, beams and backlighting. I really wanted to play around with some of those trees in there and get some of those beams coming down this way and kind of up in the sky. So that was a little bit of a change. I've kind of done this type of thing with the kind of these crepuscular rays kind of coming through those trees, but I hadn't done it where it's kind of replicated up here into the sky area. But I saw a photograph of kind of this scene in Maine that I wanted to give a try to, so that one's, I don't know, that one was really fun. I don't know. Those beams really make for kind of a dramatic looking scene, so always looking for drama. This scene is by Donna Heber in New York. 8 years ago at this time, but I like the, I don't know, kind of the finish on this. It has a nice kind of feel, or I call it like a patina to it. There's this kind of aged, weathered look, and it almost seems kind of silvery, or, you know, like a aged, I don't know, pewter, I don't know, some kind of like metal or something like that. As far as the color scheme goes, it's, I don't know what she used on there. A couple shades of violet, looks like a salvia blue maybe, or something of that sort, but you know. Okay, let's see here. And a Corinne piece. I always like this one in terms of kind of a wintry type of scene. Using the white pigment ink, you know, over these little dots in here, really weathered, but she gave this, it's overall cool scene, but she gave it kind of this undertone, a warm undertone underneath everything. I don't know if she put it on, you know, over the top of it, but it has this kind of base look of this warmth in there. So not all blue scenes have to be kind of a cool blue. You know, you can kind of really bend your and extend your temperature scale by the addition of warmth, and it could be a very subtle warmth, which is appropriate for something like that in winter. Okay, let me get some of these. Back in the old days, all they used to do is put this little band around it, you know, and without the shrink wrapping, and you get these packages of postcards, and it would, you know, with the transit that they had to go through, you'd open up these packs and or these boxes of postcards, and you'd have just scattered all over the place. Some of them were dented, and I don't know, that always drove me mad. All right, I had a choice between a couple of recent compositions. I could have done both, but I didn't. But this one was, the original was an 8.5 by 11, and I did another quarter-page scene that was, you know, the same idea, but just in a different scale, and, you know, using the same imagery and showing people how to use it on both kind of a larger scene and a smaller scene. But again, I've shrunk this down quite a ways into this piece right here. But I always like this composition right here. I don't know, I think in the past I've actually stamped that out in a lighter tone, so it looks like it kind of goes back in the distance a little bit more from a visual standpoint, you know, utilizing value. But I just used some lighter trees in the background there to give it a little bit of depth. But this is the same image as this one over here, and this image right here in the foreground is the same one used 3 times. So believe it or not, it is a fairly simple composition, you know, using 1, 2, 3 stamps. I could have used 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, in addition to this one right here. There's some water pattern in there, but as far as the dominant compositional scheme, I don't know, you could almost do this with 1 stamp. You can use that one right here, you can use it here and here, and then you can use the trees off the top of it for the foreground. It wouldn't, you know, the depth wouldn't be pushed as much, you know, with the same scale used in every kind of background, midground, foreground location. But you could do that, especially if it was on a quarter-page scene, and it would look fine. Oak branch hanging down, but this is video number 308. If you want to check it out on the YouTube channel. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Really needed to get these postcards in. I was really running out of some that I had on hand. You see these Vistaprint ads all the time, and commercials these days. They're pretty good company. They used to have much, much better deals, but I don't know, sometimes they used to be so inexpensive. I wondered if they weren't losing money, you know. Maybe just the company went public and they were just looking for sales and not really net profits. But here's a scene that I did quite some time ago. It's video number 20, you know. But that's when these images came out. And there's that kind of warmish tone down here, you know. Sometimes without that warm tone, see, that's what it looks like up there. It's all blues, but sometimes without that warm glow in there, just a tiny touch of warmth in there, like a tan color or something like that, really kind of brings the scene to life, you know. Maybe you wouldn't see that all the time out in, say, nature, but, you know, that's what doing these scenes is about. It's just about creating whatever you want in your scene, you know, for the most ideal kind of visual kind of finish to it as far as interest goes. All right, Darcy Bruno piece, 2009. But look at that great Halloween piece. That branch right up there. Let me see. Was that the same one? Yeah. That's the same one that was we just saw in this one right here. Here it's used rather minimal, in a minimal application. That's Spooky Branch. And here you can see it again, right? But it's used all the way around the perimeter, kind of putting us as a viewer of the scene in kind of a thicket of branches. It gives it kind of this emotional feel, having that in there. And plus they're all visual lead-ins leading to this right here. This eyeball eyes in here are off one of the symmetry sheets, and then I believe she just kind of created masks and did this kind of creation right here. It's really really quite interesting, I feel, as far as composition. Really creative and very effective. And then in the background there, she has cloud cumulus used as a kind of a very subtle texture, but very effective. So always like that. In terms of a piece, here's another kind of winter scene. This is one that I don't know, I stamped it out in video number 126. I didn't like what I saw, you know, in terms of what was going on in here. So I really laid down a lot of white pigment ink. That's this kind of this misty look, but it's just slathered in here all over the place. And then I just gave it a really thick splatter painting type of application of this bleed-proof white all over the entire thing. A lot of times I have it kind of as a subtle little thing, like at the base of a waterfall, some splashes, or some stars in the sky. But this one I really laid it down, giving it this kind of, oh, it's not a whiteout condition, but I don't know, very snowy, blustery type of, I don't know, maybe it's not blustery, but just heavy, heavy snowfall. And I thought it looked pretty good like that, you know, just very, very subtle in terms of what you can see in the scene like that. So sometimes you just don't like it and you just cover it up with something, some additional texture, and I don't know, you can really kind of, I don't know, make something from, I don't know, not from nothing, but you can kind of resurrect the, I don't know, scene in terms of, I don't know, having something that's kind of savable, I guess, or whatever. Anna Karin, this is the Three Bare Trees stamp, and it's embossed. See, I mean, that scanned pretty well. Anna Karin took a photograph of it, and but as far as printing goes, that, you know, that looks pretty good. You know, that gold really looks not too bad printed, I think. But anyways, kind of a minimal scene, but very rich. You know, just in terms of the background colors, the textures, and the patterns back there, and of course that moon right there. But one stamp in there. Oh, two stamps. The Peace on Earth is off of a Scenic Sentiment piece, but a really great holiday card, I would say. Thank you for everyone for allowing me to use your scenes in these idea cards. I think people really can learn a lot from your techniques and applications of the designs and usage of media. All right, this one right here was a large, long, elongated half-page format, but I don't know, it's kind of a weird piece, but it's one of those things that I really like. It's scene from video 291. It's I saw I don't, it was either on the internet or in a magazine or something like that. Glowworms, you know, on the roof of the cave, and it just looked amazing. It looks like little LED lights, you know, in terms of the photograph that I saw. And I looked it up online, and I saw this composition. It was a photograph, and there was someone standing down there, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try to replicate this and see what I can do. So I used a lot of the ledge stamp, ledge with brush, boulders with lichen. They're all kind of these rock structures. So I made a really, you know, larger composition using not too many stamps, but just kind of using them upside down, twisting them around. You see it kind of, you know, the rocks kind of facing this way and this way right here. So a little bit of masking. Then of course you have these little underground rivers, sometimes streams, and I kind of put that down there. So a little bit of light down here, light and light, so you get this oscillation of dark light, dark light, dark light, and then kind of dark down here again. So my glowworm cave would have been better on a rack card format, elongated, but these postcards are so much cheaper, and I can send out, you know, 2 different scenes on a standard size postcard than one oversized. Sometimes I get the oversized ones if there's just too much detail that I can't, you know, it gets reduced down too far. But anyways, shagbark hickory images. I did this one quite some time ago. I don't have a date on here, but this was a lot of inking up of, you know, my tree. And some of these that are very light, I really inked them up with a lot of pens like this, so that the impressions themselves have variations of brown tones and whatnot. I think I did this one in a video as well. Not this exact scene, but I think I replicated it. But to get these lighter shades right there, it was a matter of coloring up a tree like this and taking it and blotting it down first, and then also kind of wiping off some of the edges, you know, off the stamp, so that when I stamped it out, it was lighter on the side of the tree that would be kind of facing towards the middle. So on these ones I wiped off the left-hand side, so you kind of see it's lighter. I guess I rubbed a lot of pigment ink in there too, but I started it off by rubbing off some of these branches, you know, of where the impression was going to take place in relation to the lighting, and gave my kind of lighting scheme a head start to make it look as though the light is coming from within kind of the scene and towards the center, so the side of the stamp that's wiped off will stamp out lighter, okay? And then there's a lot of pigment ink down here. Sometimes these scenes like this that have a lot of color like that, and I blend in a lot of color, they start looking a little bit muddy. So you just run a lot of this kind of, you know, pigment ink. I use the Frost White Color Box one with a Q-tip in here, and running that type of texture and media over everything just kind of brings everything together. You know, things kind of look a little bit murky, but then you run that kind of fog in there and it looks like, oh, it's supposed to look that murky. So, you know, there's all kinds of little tricks like that that I do that are easy applications, but it makes, you know, a scene look good, and I don't know, it makes me look good, you know, rather than having kind of a muddy looking scene. You know, you just have, you know, use your pigment ink and it looks like you really know what you're doing. The other Halloween card from Darcy, look at that. Isn't that awesome right there? This is the first one, shoot, I think that other one came second, I think, but there's that spooky branch again used for its full effect, you know, really layering it down there, and look at this mask right here, and drawing in those eyes, and I don't, let me see if I know who that bat is from. The bat is by Hero Arts, a really fantastic company that's been out there a really long time. One of my favorite companies when I was working for Stamp in the Hand back in the 80s. I really loved that they were, I think they were the first ones to use stickers, you know, for their indexing, but that's their little bat right there. But look at that, as far as, is it scenic stamping? I don't know, but it's using scenic stamps for kind of the purpose that they want it to be used for. And look at that fantastic glow around there, you know, with the use of layered dye-based inks, you know. Looks like yellow and ochre down there, and then running orange tones over the top of that. But look at that vignette type of thing going on there, you know. So a lot of the same types of processes in terms of the ink application, but just in a different shape and in a different composition like that. But, you know, I mean, if you take this ghostly figure out here, you know, that center section, you stamp, you know, a, you know, tree or something like that within that scene, and instead of having this kind of really cool Halloween composition, you have a sunset scene in there, you know, using the same type of thing. So, you know, a lot of the processes that we use for, you know, creating kind of these little vignettes and stuff like that, and here it is, you know, the same type of color scheme, you know, light in the middle, darker, 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 black on the edges. You can really use it for all kinds of different looks. It would look very effective with just some word stamp in here that says, like, you know, Happy New Year, happy, you know, whatever. Happy Halloween, it could be a word stamp in there, but look how effective it would be around in this kind of framing here with some kind of branch like that, and, you know, that really nice kind of colored glow that's been achieved. All right, speaking of vignette, here another one is, and look at this. No, it's almost the same. I was going to say I used a little bit of a different moon, but it's real similar to that moon right in here. But look at this. This is, you know, the sky right in here, done, and it looks fairly similar to this one right here. This one's in color, of course, but in the center section, she's kept it fairly monochromatic with just a little hint of that violet up here. This one I kept just all grayscale, but look at the similarities here. The format here, really cool kind of Halloween type of setup, and this one right here, just in terms of a standard skyscape, and I don't know, a little bit of a land mass down here, but similar type of process, just using grayscale in here, and this one uses color. So all kinds of different looks. You can utilize the same types of techniques and yeah, achieve different types of results as a result of it. So anyways, some new idea cards heading out at some point in time. And anyways, thanks for watching.